Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today we're going to be looking at the American Tier 8 premium tank, the T34, which I bought yesterday, and I'm not very happy because, for those of you that do know, there's the black tanks coming on Friday as part of Black Friday, and well, yeah, those of you who don't know, you do know now, and this is going to be one of them. So I've raised a ticket to Wargaming to see if there's anything they can do about it, and expressing my displeasure at what has happened, because you know they didn't update the website till, well, yes, last night, sort of UK time, and it obviously would have been you know, morning or afternoon US time where Wargaming are based. So yeah, I bought this in the morning and then found out last night that yeah, there's going to be the black version, so not particularly happy about that, but hopefully Wargaming will do something. But first, we're going to talk about something that is quite relevant now, but won't be probably by next week or the week after. So, you know, if you're watching this video after this weekend, then sorry, you'll just have to deal with it. But for now, it is fairly relevant. Along with the black tanks, which I'll go over briefly in a moment, some of the flag tanks are coming back. Two packages. The first one containing the T26E4 Super Pershing Freedom, the Tiger Hammer, and the M41B Brazilian Bulldog. Now that one is 27,000 gold, and the other one, which contains the Cromwell Knight, there it is, the Liberté, which is the FCM 50T, and also the Motherland. Yep, the Motherland's coming back. So, you know, there were some people that were saying they wish they could get the camo on the T34 first prototype. I hope you didn't buy one, because you could now pick up a Motherland. But we're here to talk about the T34, and like I say, it's going to be coming in a black version. There are 7 tanks. They're all available individually, but they all cost more than the standard counterparts, and there's basically one for each nation. And there's a new British one, which is the FV201 A45 Black Edition. There's the STA2 Black Edition, the Lerva Black Edition, the T34-3, the T34, the IS6, and the AMX CDC. So one for each nation. And basically what they are is this, exactly the same as the standard counterparts, but black with 100 years of tanks on them, and some decal. The same silver running bonuses as the standard ones, but a massive 75% XP bonus on them all. Like I say, they do cost on average 1,800 to 2,000 more than the counterparts, and it is a whopping 58,000 gold for all 7. And they don't seem to come with equipment either, or oh no, they do come with the garage slot, but they don't seem to come with equipment. There is a smaller package for 38,000, which is the FV201 again, the Lerva, the T34 and the IS6, and then there are double packs as well. Now that is a lot of gold, 58,000. I don't know what it is in dollars, but it works out roughly, you'd have to put about £160 on to get that. However, and I'm not defending Wargaming because it is very expensive, if you bought all the standard versions of these premiums, so all the ones that are available right now, the standard versions, not the black ones, separately, not including the new British one, it would come to 62,150 gold, and that's not including the British one that you also get in the Mega and the Ultimate Bundle. Now, I'm not defending Wargaming, it is a very expensive package, and I am quite annoyed that I bought this yesterday when it was on offer, and I found out that that one's coming on at the weekend, because I wouldn't have bought this and would have waited. But it's just to give you an idea that, you know, you are saving, basically. You're saving on the 6 tanks, and you're getting that 7th British one for free. But it is very expensive. Anyway, we're here to talk about the T34. So basically, what is it? It's essentially a T29, but it's Tier 8 with a 120mm gun. You don't have quite as much armour on the front of the turret. In fact, the armour figures for the front of the turret, I think, are 229. 127 on the side and 203 on the rear, which is a lot better, obviously, on the rear than the T29 is. That does have quite a weak sort of rear to the hull, and it's got the 120mm gun. Now, if you've been through the turreted tank destroyer line, of the Americans and gone through the T30 with the 120mm gun, that is kind of what you've got here. The T30 does have a bit of a stronger turret front, but that is essentially what you've got. But you do have a slower rate of fire and basically worse gun handling stats, so you know, you've got a longer aim time. I think the accuracy is slightly worse as well, possibly, but it does give you a good idea, and well, it gives you an idea really with the T29, but with a bigger gun and a bit of a slower rate of fire. So let's go into the gun and have a quick look at that. Well, it's 120mm, like I say, 4 rounds a minute, which works out to a 15-second reload. Now, I'll talk about the reload in a minute, because I've got that down quite a bit. 248mm of pen with 400 average damage, which is quite good. You know, it's decent for the tier. Quite a poor, in fact, quite a Russian aiming time of 3.4 seconds. The accuracy is not too savage, though, at 0.35. Well, it's better than the T29, and I think it's better than the T32 as well. Traverse is very typical for the American heavies at 22, which is a bit on the slow side, and turret traverse again is a little bit more on the slow side at 18 degrees a second. Now, what surprised me was the view range, which is a little bit low actually for the tier and for the American heavies at 360 meters, but the signal range isn't bad at 745, so you don't really have trouble keeping in touch with the rest of your team. An 810 horsepower engine, so you know, it's not bad actually. On the flat, you know, it can move along at a fair old sort of speed. It's not too savage, and it is very, very in keeping with the American heavies, the T29, the T32. So if you've been in those, you're going to pretty much know what you're getting into with this tank. You know, weaker hull, massively strong turret, very, very good gun depression. Now, ammo costs are well, 1,060 for your standard, 4,800 for your APCR, and 900 for your high explosive. And I think I've just remembered, I'm all over the place. It's got me in such a fluster. Yes, how very British, fluster. That made me sound very old. With having this T34 on the black one coming out, I think I forgot to go over the rest of them. So, like I say, 248, 400, 297 for your premium, which is really quite good, with 400 average damage again, 60 and 515 for your high explosive. Right, now, armour figures. Like I say, front of the turret, 229, 127 on the sides, and 203 on the rear. The hull is 102 on the front, 76 on the sides, 51 on the rear, which I think is pretty much the same as the T29, if not exactly the same. The turret is kind of different though. The top is a bit weaker, Commander's cupola is a bit bigger, and seemingly a little bit easier to hit in these. I've had mine hit a couple of times, and yeah, I've hit a few others a couple of times. We'll actually have a look at the modules in just a moment. Equipment wise, oh, it's got a very bad aiming time, so I've actually gone for vertical stabilizers and a gun lane drive, and I've gone for a gun rammer. I was a bit undecided whether to go for that or go for vents, which would have improved the reload slightly, but I decided to go for the gun rammer. The crew is my T29 crew, which I've not been playing for a while, to be honest. I have 2 started now though, yay! Yay me! But yeah, I've not been playing it for a little bit. So I've got Sixth Sense, I've got Track Mechanic, Repairs is nearly full, and I've also got Brothers in Arms on there. And consumables, well, I've gone for a case of cola to try and improve the reload and the aiming time, and I've put a premium first aid kit on there because I've got loads from the various ops that I've been doing recently, and the drops for the tanks I've bought, like the Boilermaker, etc. So I've stuck that on there, and just a standard repair kit as well. And yeah, I don't know whether you'd need the vertical stabilizer on the gun lane drive. I think it helps, but I've got my reload time down with the gun. The gun rammer, the cola, and the Brothers in Arms down to 12.12 seconds from 15. So if you put vents on instead of maybe the gun lane drive or the vertical stabilizer, you could probably get that down even further, and that really would help with the rate of fire. Now, modules. Like I say, well, standard 15-second reload, and that's obviously before all the stuff that I've got on it. You've got a 35 km/h top speed. Concealment is pretty poor at 0.07. I can't even speak at the minute. And moving is 0.03. And like I've already said about the view range, a little bit on the low side. Now, it has a power to weight ratio of 12.45, which I think is pretty similar to the T29. In fact, I'll just check that. I'll have to come out of that. Let's have a look. And I know the T29 is a tier lower, but it's a good comparison for it. Yeah, so you kind of, if you've been in the T29, you know what you're getting movement-wise, manoeuvrability, speed, and everything else with T34. And you do have a 20% chance of fire. Touch wood, I haven't been set on fire yet. I hope I don't, because Kohler isn't very good at putting them out. Gun, well, elevation's a bit of a problem at 15 degrees, so sometimes you have to be a bit careful if things get particularly high above you, but very, very good gun depression at minus 10 degrees, and again, very in keeping with the T29, the T32, you work the ridge lines, use that gun depression, try and get hull down where you can. 22 degrees rotation on the hull, which I think I said before. Terrain resistances, a little bit poor, to be honest, 1.4, 1.7, and a very poor 3.4 on the soft terrain, so that is a bit disappointing. You do have to try and avoid the swampy areas, or you will almost grind to a halt. Turret we've covered. Radio just in the back of the actual turret itself. Ammunition blocks in the sides of the turret towards the rear of the overhang, and one big ammunition block across the floor of the actual hull itself, which is again very similar to the T29. It is essentially the T29 hull, so it makes sense. You've got the driver and machine gunner in the front. You've got the operator, command, and obviously commander's hatch as well. Now, armour-wise, well, like you can see, it's a bit of a mixed bag. 1 to 20, which is the tracks and just parts of the floor of the hull, as you can see there. 1 to 30, front part of the hull floor and the little strips down either side of the inside of the tracks. 31 to 50, which is the top of the turret itself, so see what I mean, that is quite weak. It is on a lot of tanks, obviously, but with that slope on the front, if you've got a big enough gun, there is the chance you can actually overmatch that angle and penetrate the turret there. And obviously you've got the engine deck as well. 51 to 70, which is the actual rear of the tank, and the lower plate as well, so you do have to watch your lower plate. But again, I keep saying it, I can't emphasise it enough, you're going to know what you're getting into if you've been through the American heavies. Machine gun port on the front is also a weak spot, and yeah, the hatches as well, which is a bit odd, but you can hit those occasionally, if they're sort of slightly facing downhill, that sort of thing, it can be a good place to penetrate. 71 to 90 is the sides of the hull, all the way down beside the tracks. 91 to 120 is the rest of the upper plate, which I think is supposed to be 102, and then 121 to 160 is the rear sort of, well actually no, sorry, the sides of the turret itself and a strip around the rear of the turret. And then we're moving on to 161, 190, which is around the commander's hatch, and it is quite angled, but if you've got enough pen you can get through there, but also if you've got a big enough gun, like I say, there is the possible overmatching on the top of the turret. Otherwise you want to go for the machine gun port if you can. Let's have a look. And also obviously you've got just behind the gun mantle, which is included in that bracket, 191 to 230, which is the rear of the turret, this sort of big plate on the back, the front of the turret itself and the gun mantle surround, and then the centre of the gun mantle is, well, it's just showing us 231 plus, so we don't have any accurate figures for that, but don't shoot it in the gun mantle is basically what that's saying. And I think that is about it. I think we've covered everything else, yeah, so let's get into the replays and see how it actually handles. Right, so here we are for the first of the replays. It's on port, it's a tier 8 match, and it's an encounter. And a couple of things I forgot to mention in the garage, like I say, I'm all over the place. That has got me a little bit annoyed that I bought this and then found out about the black one. It's 12,000 gold, the standard version of the T34. The black one is 14,000, and it gets a 57% silver bonus and a 10% XP bonus. So the black one getting a 75% XP bonus, because all of the black tanks have 75% XP bonuses, is a big difference up at tier 8. Now, while I'm just trying to find something to shoot at, I will go on a little bit about them. It is an expensive package, and it's frustrating, especially because that British one only comes with that package, which is a little bit, annoying. And especially if you've also already owned some of those tanks. I mean, I now own the T34, but hopefully Wargaming will do something about that. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. And I also own the CDC. But if you're a new player to this game and you've not got any of these tanks, and you can afford it, or you could possibly get it as an early Christmas present, something like that, it is a good package. Like I say, it's over 60,000 to buy the standard versions of these black tanks separately, and that's not including the British one that you actually get with it. So, as a new player, like I say, if you can afford it, it would be a good deal, because 75% XP bonus is a fantastic bonus, and you'll be earning loads of silver while you do it, because they'll have a good silver earning bonus. But yeah, I mean, that's why I've done the T34 review, because it's in that pack. And basically to say to people, if you are thinking about getting the T34, or you watch this review and think, yeah, that's for me, I want to get that, wait until Friday and get the black version. Alright, donk my first shot at the T43, quite typically. And I'm going to pull off to the side. There are a few over to the right, but if I can get behind this hangar, I can start putting some shots at the things that are coming across the field from the railway yard. Try and thin those out a bit. There's enough guys taking care of the ones over in the sort of slag heaps, gravel heaps, whatever you want to call them. Now I've popped around the corner and finished off that guy. I didn't quite notice what he was. And I'm pulling back because I'm taking hits. Well, I'm taking shots from the T29, and the NAS horn put one into me as well. But like I say, I've got my T29 crew in here. They're not too bad. They're not a brilliant crew, but they're all right. Skills I didn't really cover properly. Like I say, I've got Sixth Sense, Track Mechanic, Brothers in Arms, Repairs. I would also say clutch braking, and definitely off-road driving, and also Armourer, which is the one for your damaged gun. From playing in this, I can't remember if it happens in these matches that I've chosen for the replays, but I've had my gun damaged a lot in this, especially because of how you play it, coming up over ridge lines, just exposing your turret, which is very tough. You will get your gun damaged a lot, so Armourer would be a good one to have. Scorpion, you don't see those very often. The T29's back though. I did take care of the NAS horn. Put a good hit into the T29, and it just looked for a second then. I'm not sure if I zoom in again, but it looked like he might have the 90mm possibly, but well, he's done now anyway. In fact, I'm going to rewind it and see if he does have the 90mm. Well, it did look like he had the 90mm. Could have been the 76, I think it is, but I'm pretty sure it was the 90. But we're going to try and get that Scorpion. You don't see many of those. I've got one. It's not a bad tank destroyer. No armour, and I mean that literally 1mm of armour all round, but very good gun depression. And when you pop up over a ridge, if you get it right, you only actually show your gun and a very, very small gun shield. Now I managed to get a hit into that T43, but the Crafts Panther got one into me, but it's tracked me at a decent angle, so they're now bouncing, and that's him dealt with. Now there's an E25 coming over on my left. He might struggle to get through the front of the hull. It is only 102, but it doesn't have brilliant penetration on the E25, and the front of the hull has got an angle to it, and he's above me, so the lower plate will be more angled, so I don't know. I still pulled back though, just to get into cover, and basically to try and deal with this T44 that's popping up on the flank. There are some guys down towards the river off to my right, which should be able to deal with him, and I think that was the was that T43 that put that shot into the side of my turret? I'm not sure. It could have been the E25, but the T43 did get me in the side, and then something put one into the back of me, and I'm not sure what it was or where it was. We'll pop round the corner, take out the T43. I was going to go for the Scorpion, but then the E25 starts penning, so pull back, give him the front, and he's bouncing again now, so pull back a bit more. I don't want to risk it. He's going for the machine gun port, which is the right place to go for. And just wait for the reload. He's now going for the commander's hatch. And that's him dealt with. Now, there's still a medium behind me. There's still the Scorpion up towards the railway yard. Or the railway, should I say. And I'm going in for the side scrape, and that's when the Tiger rushes round. Luckily bounces because of the angle he shot me at, and I managed to finish him off. And then a 3601H is behind me. Yeah, I'm just getting my tracks repaired. Not quite in time. And he finishes me off. So I think we'll skip to the end and see how I did. Now that one unfortunately was a defeat. Yes. A bit of a shame. I think was I the last guy left? Not quite sure. But anyway, 127,000 silver, 2,500 XP. 2,768 damage done with 3,460 blocked and 1,600 assisted, and a top gun out of it with 6 kills and a first class mastery. So not a bad defeat. I would have preferred it to be a win, you know, wouldn't we all? But no, it was not a bad defeat. I was quite happy with that. But the M6 on the other team, he looked like he had a cracking game. Bear in mind he's a tier 6 heavy in a tier 8 game, so yeah, well done to him. He deserved to come top there with that score, definitely. Now, it is a bit long, this video, I'm afraid, and that's because of me covering the flag tanks and the black tanks a bit sort of during the garage bits. That has extended the video out slightly. I'll try and keep it as short as I can, but yeah, I do apologise for that. And there were some glitchy bits with the microphone in the garage review. I didn't realise until I came to edit it, and it was a bit late to sort it. You can still hear what I'm saying, but I do apologise for that. However, I have now got, well, I'll go over that in a minute. First of all, we're on Murovanka. It's a tier 8 battle and it's a standard match. As I was saying, my microphone is now turned up, my new microphone, got my editing software, got my capture card, so fingers crossed if I can figure it out after I've edited and uploaded this video. Tomorrow it shall all be done with the proper editing software, the professional sort of ish microphone, well, a lot more professional than my headset, and yeah, hopefully I shall be there tomorrow. Now, again, as I'm going looking for trouble, I'm going to apologise to my Xbox subscribers. I did say I was going to pop up today on the Xbox, and I did say it yesterday as well, but with finding out about the black tanks that are coming on, and with me not having actually started on the Xbox yet, I wasn't really going to put much money into it. I basically downloaded the pack that gets you the combat car. Finally got one for free, and I was just going to go up the American line, you know, and use that as a crew trainer. Now, with the black tanks coming out, they're all the same as the standard ones, so I can use them as reviews as well, if I need to. You know, they are, like I say, the same apart from the XP bonus. And with it having that that British one in there as well, the bonus one, like I say, I wasn't going to put much money into the Xbox version because I am going to be mainly PS4 still. But I am going to probably get the mega deal, just to set me up with a tank of every nation as a crew trainer and silver earner on the Xbox, so I can get cracking on that. I've had, well, to be honest with you, I've had my first ever payment from YouTube, which was you know, it wasn't a lot. It really wasn't. It was quite a modest amount, but I can certainly put it towards that to ease the sting a little bit. But that will set me up on the Xbox, like I say, with a tank of every nation, crew trainer and silver earner, and I'll be able to review that British one for you on Friday. So I will 100% be popping up on Xbox on Friday to get footage of the new British Premium that's coming on. So I don't know if I'll be on there before then. I don't know, I really don't know, but definitely Friday 100% I will be on there. Now, we managed to take out that Cromwell. Poor little guy was on his own down here. I almost felt sorry for him. And I put a shot towards that IS-3, and now I've got another IS-3 coming round on the flank, sort of down the centre of the map. And oh, I thought I'd missed actually then, but I hit him and it bounced. And I'm going to try and basically get to a better position than up there. I'm feeling a bit exposed up there. I've got to watch my right flank. There are some tanks over there, some friendlies, but they are down an embankment, so they wouldn't really be able to spot anything that's up above them. And I managed to get it through the side of the IS-3's turret. And for a second it looked like he got the stock turret, but I'm not quite sure. And then back off a bit, 'cause there's an 88, although he is occupied, so I'm pretty safe from him at the moment. I'll pop over here, put one in. Oh, and it got eaten by his tracks. Bugger it, ram him. If in doubt, ram. Knock his tracks off. And just bully him a little bit. Use my gun depression, get it down into the hull. One more should do it. And I'm just going to try and keep up, and that's when I take a hit in the flank. Nearly take another one, and I think it's only RNG that really saves me from taking quite a lot of damage here, as they keep missing, thankfully. Now, there's something just over this embankment to my left. There it is, KV-4, and again I've got to be careful of those two tank destroyers on my right. As you can see, I'm just keeping an eye out on them. The KV-4's spotting me, but you know, I don't know. Hopefully they might be occupied. But I pull back and there's a bit of a bank to my right now. It's not going to provide a lot of cover, but if I pop up, get back down, that might be alright. In fact, there you go, my gun's been damaged. It does happen a lot. And this is basically kind of how you want to use this, working the ridge lines. Don't do what some T29, T32 drivers do, you know, that sort of tank, where they basically have a hull down sort of sweet spot on each map, and they basically get there and then refuse to move for the entire match unless anything comes to them. You basically move around, as you get to learn the maps, if you're new to the game, you'll learn the places that you want to be heading, where you've got better areas. You want to just be aware of the terrain around you and try and put yourself in a position where you are using your gun depression and kind of hiding your hull as much as possible. Or if you're not using your gun depression, hiding your hull, you're behind rubble or a wall or a rock and hiding your hull that way, or even tank wreckage. You know, don't go hull down and just stay where you are, but try and get hull down wherever you are, if you see my meaning. That was a lucky bounce off the side of the turret there. I'm not sure what took a shot at me, and I don't really want to go out of here. I'm not spotted at the minute. I know that there's two tank destroyers. I was pretty sure that one of them was actually over on the western side of the map in the middle, and he wasn't. They were both there. This was my cock up. I got a bit overconfident, blundered out of the forest. I thought I was safe and I wasn't, and it's nearly cost me my tank. So that was nearly all over there just for a bit of overconfidence. And basically I'd taken my eye off the map a couple of times, not been keeping too much of an eye on it, and that's why I didn't realise quite where they were, and I thought one was somewhere else. So map awareness, I've mentioned it before, I'll probably mention it again, it is sort of key to this. And poor map awareness there, like I say, not quite keeping track of where some of the tanks were. That did nearly cost me. But there's the 88, I've got his side. I should have just waited for the aim to... when I can speak, should have just waited for the aiming circle to fully shrink. But I got a bit keen and fired early, and it just donked into the ground. And I was just looking what was left, and it's an IS-3, and I know it's over near the cap somewhere, but I'm on very low health. It's very open out here, so let somebody else spot him for me. Put it into the side of his turret, and somebody else puts a little shell in just to finish him off. Not a bad victory. $157,800 credits, which is always nice. 2,709 XP, 4,278 damage done, with 4,305 blocked, and just over 700 assisted. And came out there with a sniper, first class mastery, and a steel wall. And I came second, which was a really big shock to me. But the T32, he had a cracking game. He beat me on damage. We got the same kills, but well done to him. I really don't mind coming in second. It was a surprise, but I really don't mind. Like I say, well done to the guy in the T32. He looked like he had a monster game. Right, got one more replay coming up for you, and that's the end of this slightly longer video. Like I say, it was due to mentioning the black tanks and the flag tank packages at the beginning of the garage review, so I do try and keep them down to about half an hour for the reviews recently. They're a bit longer than the random destruction, obviously, because you have to do the garage review, but yeah, this one's just a shade under 39 minutes, so I do apologise, but I hope it's been worth it for you. Right, here we are then for the last of the matches. It's Tier 9 match. Malinovka, and it's standard battle, and I'm going to go for the hill. And the first two replays were actually just with the vertical stabilizer and the gun lane drive and standard consumables. I did forget to mention that. This one is with both of those pieces of equipment: the vertical stabilizer, the gun lane drive, gun rammer, premium first aid kit, and the case of cola. And like I say, I've got my reload down to about 12.12 seconds from 15, and that's with brothers in arms, cola, and a gun lane, not gun lane drive, yeah, gun lane drive, no, gun rammer, that's the one. Proper brain fart. So again, if you, like I say, maybe swapped out the vertical stabilizer or the gun lane drive for vents, with the cola, with the brothers in arms, with the gun rammer, you could probably get that down. Well, you will get that down a little bit further. There's no probably about it really. But I think at 12 seconds, it does bring it in line a little bit more. I mean, up at this level, you're talking, well, there's the IS-3 with the BL-9 gun. I think that's got a rate of fire about 4.88. I think its reload against standard, I would say around 13 point something seconds. I could be wrong with that, but the standard reload on this with 4 rounds a minute is 15 seconds. So yeah, with all this equipment, you could beat the reload just on a unequipped IS-3. But like I say, pushing up the hill, I do like to in tanks like this with the strong turret and the good gun depression. You can really work the top of this hill, just coming up over the edge of the top there. Or in fact, sometimes I like to go up the middle, around, I would have said E7 possibly. There's like a ridge in the middle. If your tank's low profile enough, you've got a strong enough turret. You do have to be careful from sort of flanking fire people coming up the hill, but you can do quite well there. I normally try that in mediums with good turrets and good depression. Now there's a T10 that's pushed down that gully towards the edge of the hill, and I really don't want him around the side of me, be able to put shots into my side and rear, so I'm going to pull back from the top of the hill, let the other two tanks up here with me sort of fend off anything coming over the top, and I'm going to try and deal with this T10. And I can poke over the edge of this gully and basically just not really give him much. He might have a bit of my upper plate, but at that angle it'll bounce more than likely. And he's got my turret, and my commander's hatch will be hard to hit. So I put a couple of shots in. The IS-3 took a shot at me, but I don't know where that went. I'm not entirely sure. The T10's backing off a bit. I did bounce off his upper plate there, it's a bit poorly aimed. If I get one more into him before he pulls back. There's the IS-3. Don't want to give him too much of my hull. Go for the flattened front plate of the T10, and it went through, and I got my gun damaged again. That's why you could do with armour on this. And managed to finish off the T10. But yeah, like I say, armourer is quite an important skill on this, and I guess with the T29 and the T32 as well, because you play them a very similar way. You generally get your gun damaged a lot because you're just poking your turret over, and they'll either hit your gun as they're trying to hit your commander's hatch, or sometimes people get frustrated and just load up HE and start shooting at your turret, and that can damage your gun as well. Now I got one into the side of the Yag Tiger, but it did cost me. The M103 got one into me. And I've fixed my gun again because I'm going to be going for the commander's hatch and for sort of smaller places as he's poking over the top there. but I bounced off him and it looked like he penned me again. And this is where a bit of a mixture of dodgy aiming or possibly poor aiming and just a bit of RNG starts to kick my ass a bit. I got one into the turret of the Tiger 2 into his commander's hatch. There wasn't much to shoot at there, but it went in, so that was nice. It just seems to be, I think it's against this M103. So I'm going for his commander's hatch. He's popping back a bit. I can just make it out and bounces. So I'm going to pull back and he's going to come over, and I thought he'd have the gun depression to not have to come over that far, but maybe he's coming over further to try and go from a hull, which is more than likely. So I'm going to try and go for his commander's hatch, and again it just bounces, but luckily he bounces off me in return. Now he's really pushing over, and I've got a shot at his lower plate, but that means he can probably get my hull, so yeah, just wasted that a bit, and that was a really poor shot, to be honest. I'm not even sure why I took that one. Now I've got to keep an eye on the left. There's a medium tank that seems to be holding the IS-3 at bay, so he's doing a good job. Looks like a light's made a break for that tank destroyer. And I'm going for the Tiger 2's commander's hatch and bounce off him as well. But the Jag Tiger's gone down to have a go at that medium, but there's him and another tank, and they are holding them off, so fair play to them, and hopefully they can keep them at bay, stop them coming over. And I'm not quite sure what happened there yet. The M103 got me, but the Japanese tank at the side of me, is an Oho or an Oni, managed to take him out, not quite in time before he did a bit of damage to me. But I've managed to finish off the AMX M4. Keeping an eye on the IS-3 and that Jag Tiger. I don't want those popping up on my flank to be able to put shots in. And I didn't even let that one aim. RNGesus seems to be back on my side as I take out the Tiger 2. Now, still can't quite turn to the left to deal with the Jag Tiger and the IS-3 yet, because there's a hammer come up over the ridge. So he needs dealing with. He's been dealt with. So now we can turn our attention to the Jag Tiger and the IS-3 without taking shots into our sides. And I'm just going to use my gun depression to come over, shoot down into the gully. Try and get rid of the IS-3 first, because he's able to turn his turret to shoot up at me. The Jag Tiger, he's got to manoeuvre, and he's a bit more awkward. There's the IS-3. And can I just get one into the Jag Tiger? No, pulls back before a reload. And he's dealt with. He's done. And again, not a bad match. Quite happy with that one. Came out that with 112,000, and that's basically because I've got the Kohler on there. Like I said, I've got quite a lot of first aid kits and repair kits lying about from ops and drops and what have you. But it came out of that with a high caliber and over 4,000 damage done. And a first class mastery, so not a bad end to the review, I don't think. So there you go, there's a T34. If you are thinking about picking one up, I would definitely wait for Friday and pick up the black version. But I hope you've enjoyed the video, I hope it's been informative, and as always, take care out there, and I will catch you next time. See you later.